Okay, so AI we covered fairly thoroughly in May this year, and the benefit and the harm and the risk of AI. So I'm not going to go any of that. I just want to put this in historical context and then take it from there to how it actually works, as I promised in my email. So nuclear fission happened in 1942. I don't think we thought about it much. Then the dropping atomic bombs happened, and people woke up to the fact that, my goodness, something happened here. I didn't know it was going on. And only many decades later, we are really familiar with what's happening. And if any of you haven't seen the Oppenheimer, it's a definitely worthwhile film to see, though a bit long, but it certainly keeps you interested. And you will see how much of history you missed in terms of how this whole process evolved into the atomic bomb and then later on for other things. So that produced the atomic bomb, but it also produced some energy benefits, and we've learned a lot from it. And now it is the cornerstone of energy production in many countries. So it becomes very important for us to understand also what is the difference between how vast was the nuclear phase to AI. In my mind, nuclear was very important, but it had very limited application. It's energy-oriented or weapons. AI will enter everything we do, and we owe it to ourselves to understand the fundamentals. It can be used literally in everything, and you will see it in everything you do. So let's go into how does it really work. And I mean, how does it really work? Not conceptually. Just if I can have a quick show of hand to see how I pitch it, how many, and I see only 48, how many of you has a good grasp of how it really works? LLM, large language model. I know it's a mouthful, but it is the, if you like, the foundational thing for AI. So we will see LLM in almost everything, in music, in videos, in photography, in everything we deal with. How many have a good conceptual understanding, let's say, of LLM? Can I have a show of hands? Okay. Not many, but at least not on my screen. Maybe the technicians come a bit later and they appear in other screens. But that's good. Hopefully you will get a good feel for that today. So let's see, the biggest problem that faced people in the field of AI is computers don't understand the language. There's no way you can feed words like you do it with humans. They only deal with numbers. So how do we turn what we are familiar with, what we understand each other by, into language? And that's really the entry point, and we will build on that. And I promise you, by the end of this, you will be amongst the maybe 1% who will know exactly how it works. So in the English language, the total number of words, let's say, is in the region of 600,000. Now, the commonly used words, maybe only 50,000, but the totality is about 600,000. That's a lot of words. But it's not difficult to say, let's allocate a number for each word. Okay? So the first word, let's say ace here, we give it number 1. Second word, number 2 is amazing. Then appreciative, 3. Aromatic, 4. All the way down to zinc, 600,000. Okay, and so all words have an equivalent number. Now we can give that to computers because they're very happy when they see numbers. So let's see how we take that. So if I put this sentence, hey, how are you? Computer will not see, hey, how are you? It will see this, 25, 35, 75. That's the number we allocated to these words. Is that clear to everybody? Because we need to start 100% to build on that. Computer will not see, hey, how are you? Will see 25, 35, 75. And now it is at ease. Computer is happy. I've got something I can manipulate. Okay, so let's go. If you go, put the word R, okay? R is just a word in without context. R, okay, has number 5. So the computer will go on the internet, scrape all the information it can find, and at the moment it may look at it, I don't know, maybe 2 billion words, and say, what is the most likely thing to come after R? Any guesses? And let it be a bit interactive. I don't want to lecture to you. You probably know this better than me, and you're mostly smarter than me anyway. So what's the most likely word after R on the internet? You. Okay, it's a valid, but because we have no context, it could be anything else, couldn't it? Could be, are you? Could be, how are they? How are things? Even, we're not even got the how. So it's actually, are you? Are they? Are things? Are fine? All possibilities. Are animals? Possible, maybe not. So let's see. Without context, everything is possible. These are equally possible. Are you with me so far? Stop me if I'm not, because it's every step is building on the one before it until you think, aha, I'm waiting for that moment of, aha, I get it. Okay, that's how the computer is playing with this. So it takes the words and as a number, looks on the internet, what's with wherever this word occurred are, and it looks at the most logical word that commonly comes after R. Throughout our human interaction, human conversation, and come up with, okay, if you don't give me any context, I'm going to give you same possibility, are you, are they, are things, are fine. But very little chance of are animals. It just, we don't say that to each other. Okay, so we now go to the next step. Now we're giving a bit more context. We no longer put R in space. It's R inside the sentence. How are you? Now, tell me, what do you think will come as a response to how are you? In human speak, what will be the next most likely word?
Hard.
Don't be shy. It's only a word I'm asking you to give me.
The name. Fine.
Name. How are you? Would you really, if I said to you, how are you, you'd say fine? Maybe, yeah. So let's see. The most likely, at least the computers have found after looking at the entire internet, how are you? I, because you want to answer, because you want to say I am. The next, remember, each one of those is a word. It found 60% of the cases, it says I. 20% says we. How are you? If it's a group of people, or if it's a queen refers to herself with we. So hopefully you don't call yourself we. We comes at 20. How are you? Thank you, I'm fine. Thank you could be 10%. How are you? Animal never comes up, right? So far, so good? Shake your heads if nothing else. I'm giving you really, hopefully, something that you will be able to turn to your son or daughter, a child, and you can tell them this. This is not rocket science. The theory is simple. Later, the application can get quite hairy, but the theory is simple. Let's take it to another step further. How are you if it was followed with I, what would be the most likely thing? How are you? I what? Exactly. You get 60% for but you could say, how are you? I feel. I feel good, I feel bad, whatever, or I don't. Again, how are you? Would the animal come next? So I'm expecting nothing more from you than no or yes. Then I can see 10 people and you don't have to, so to speak, over each other. But if you say nothing, I will take it as if you didn't get me. Or your speaker is off, microphone, whatever. So, how are you? I am is very logical. And the computer is extremely logical. Don't be misled by, oh, it could say this, it could say that, and we've had ChatGPT does this, does that. There is extremely tight logic because it's gone and looked at 1 billion, maybe 10, maybe 50 billion possibilities, and will not give you the next one that is not the highest percentage. Here, 60%. Take it further. Now it's getting easy, right? How are you? I am. What's the next likely word in the English language that we say to each other as a human being?
Fine or good.
Fine or good.
Fine.
You seem to all agree fine is a good word to follow. And because why? Because you're humans and you speak every day, and that's what you say to each other in emails, that's what you do in WhatsApp, whatever. Yes, fine gets 50, good gets 20, bad, thankfully it's only 10%, otherwise it will not be a happy situation. Okay, still animal is a problematic, just animal there to show you that there are things that don't get it. So, if I keep adding to this sentence, you can go on forever. Because it's logical. What is after I am fine? And then there could be something else, and you can go indefinitely. And that's how computer, judging by how we deal with language, continue the situation. Okay, that so far, so good? Shaking head?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So why didn't it happen before? This seems like something you teach to children. How come not before? Why is it only hit us in end of 22, beginning of 23? And there is good reason for this. It may seem simple, but remember, here is a computer or a whole host of computers looking at the entire internet and trying to figure from the total human speech what is logical that follows. The task is humongous. Okay, you need computer power almost unimaginable maybe 5 to 10 years ago. That is absolutely necessary, and that's how they use these graphical processors, because they can manipulate much more parallel, if you like, processes. It has to deal with trillions of possibilities. Okay, so you have billions of occurrences on the internet, but the possibilities are in the trillions. So if you think of it as a spreadsheet, you're all familiar with that, with 600,000 columns and 600,000 rows. So the eye, it will go and look at 600,000 possibilities as a potential for following. Now, if it was only I, as we said in the very first example, like R. But remember, the moment you widen the sentence, you end up with maybe how are. So I have to take all these words as context to come up with the next logical thing. So you have to deal with trillions of possibilities. We did not have the method. We maybe had a bit of computational power, but it needed something even more smart to do it. Okay, so a different approach is needed. Just number crunching would not do it. Then there was a magic ingredient that came on the scene not so long ago, and I'm talking about the last 10 years, and that is the transformers. Now, don't worry about transformers. We will not talk about transformers, but it would be smart if you saw this drawing and thought, yeah, I know what that is. It just sounds cool that you know what it is. How it works is not that difficult. You can get into it, but it's not the subject of our discussion. But these transformers enabled something amazingly powerful. It enabled us to look at thousands of words in parallel. We didn't have that capacity. We were doing one at a time, and no matter how fast we did it, you cannot answer thousands of people asking thousands of questions and respond in real time without transformers. Okay? It solved the context problem. Context, why? Because in the context, means a sentence has more than one word, and it can be even to a full book. Imagine as a context, and you're a clever human being, I give you a book to read, right? And you have the entirety of the book, and let's say it's about space travel. And you read the entire book, and the most logical last word in the book would be, she went to. In terms of context, and you've read the whole book, you as a human will know straight away if she went to Mars, let's say. Transformer will take all of that content also as an entire book in one book and come up with the most logical last word in the book. Okay, so transformers plus computing power enabled us to do something that up till this point we could not do. So let's go to the next point, because if we just want logic, we know every sentence, every word, how computer will produce an answer. Let's say, what about creativity? We don't want AI or LLM to just do logic. It's a bit tiring. So how do we do creativity? How do we make it do something different than what everybody does on the internet? Okay, because LLM is not probability as much as you might have heard. It is probabilistic, but it will still give the answer to the highest probability. So you will always get the answer, how are you? I am fine, 100% of the time, but we want a bit more creativity. So there is a concept in computers called temperature. How do I raise the temperature so I can have a bit more variation, not give me the most logical? And I use this visual. If you like, you start with this plastic bottle, apply creativity, and it starts to crumble, which is temperature. With heat, something else comes out. Okay, let's see how it would apply in language. Okay, so we wanted to raise the temperature to get something close to the truth, but not exactly, because we want it to be different. We want it to make sense. It cannot be stupid. So we raise the temperature a little bit, and we get something else. And the something else has never been said on the internet, because this is a different variation, because we raised the temperature. And I'm going to show you some example right now. It sounds theoretical, but you will see how this applies in real life. Okay, so now instead of saying, so this would be the most logical answer to how are you? With raised temperature, you might end up with how are they? It's not the most likely answer, but it is selected because the temperature is being raised a little bit. Are you with me? Yes or no? Yes? I've got a few nods. No, I didn't get any of those, but I got some stiff heads. Nobody didn't shake their head. Okay, so let's go. What if I raise it quite high? What do you think will happen? Normita, you seem to be following, or are you? So If I raise the temperature really high, what would happen? So without temperature raise, it was, how are you? I'm fine. We know that. And then we raised it a bit, becomes, how are you? They. It is similar to your brain. Brain has the amygdala, which has the emotion, and that interferes with logical thinking, okay? So now with the red temperature on red, it becomes, hey, how are animals? And you think, this is crazy. What is this telling us is don't raise the temperature too much. You will get some, hallucination. So you have to be careful how much we play with that. Think of it as a dial. If you don't raise it, logical every time. Raise it a bit better. Raise it a lot, it goes crazy. And I will show you some examples of it, but don't laugh at me because this is rather sensitive. I'm hoping you'll be respectful. So, take this. I put myself on the spot here. Not the most comfortable thing, but I thought there's nothing easier than to see images for us. So this was a picture I think Zishan took of me, or I don't know, for a magazine issue. And without raising the temperature, that's what I would look like. Look at with a slight raise of temperature, what will happen. Okay, only slight. Can anybody spot a difference? No, yes. Come on, shake your head one way or the other.
Yes.
Right. Okay, because the next one, if you don't see it, you need glasses, okay? So let's say we raise it even more. Now we come into the yellow. So let's see what you're expecting. Now, can you see the difference? If you don't, you're obviously not looking.
I think the previous one was better.
Okay, so it's going to get a lot different. So let's raise it a bit more. What happened here?
Rather not serious.
But you can see this dial is very useful to let us. Now, somebody might call this creative. I mean, it doesn't have to, it's not meant to be appealing to me or to anybody. It's just an example. What can also be used in if you like, a malicious way. We're only talking now logic, temperature, but somebody could take your picture and play with it and come up with something else. So it gives you an example of where this technology can go. Let's raise it crazy. I don't like these pictures, but I wanted to show you when LLM, which is also controlling imagery, starts to kind of hallucinate. So we raise it. What do you expect to see? You're all looking, waiting to see pictures. Have you got an idea what you got to see? So gone into red temperature. The guy started smoking. What if we raise it a bit more? He's become, I don't know, changed quite a bit their appearance. Okay, you want to see the even more raising?
Next could be Wolverine, I guess. No?
That's how far it can go if you raise the dial way up. It is crazy. It is. So hopefully you're getting a feel of, it starts with language, but actually goes over the whole spectrum to imagery, to more robotic behaving or misbehaving, cars behaving, misbehaving. I don't know if you're getting a feel of where we started and where you could end up in. And I hope you all have the time to play with these things. They're not very complicated. Maybe you need a bit of patience, but none of it is very technical. So LLM can hallucinate, can produce things totally out of the ordinary. And same with nuclear, it has good, it has bad. And we need to see, how do we control, constrain what is now going to be part of our life? I hope this given you a good feel. If you haven't got it 100%, go back and listen again. The logic is simple. And if you can't feel that you can tell somebody 10 years old the same story as I told it, then something is missing. It is that simple. Hope this is being clear. And now if I can ask you to rate and leave comments. Thank you very much.